In this lesson, we will explore another theory about child development. A Russian-American psychologist called Uri Bronfenbrenner developed what came to be known as the ecological systems theory. His ecological model of children's development shows how certain factors relate to one another. It helps us to understand how children's development is shaped by their social context. Bronfenbrenner says the factors are personal factors, for example, motivations, psychological factors, physical factors, and temperament of the child and the parent or parents. Process factors, that is how people relate. Context, which includes family, school, and the community. And finally, time. Let's look at those factors again through a diagram. Personal factors, process factors, context, and finally, time. In this simplified diagram, the factors that are closest to the child who's in the center affect the child more directly and have longer lasting effects than the more distant or outer factors. These factors all influence one another. You could imagine this model as being like an onion. The child is at the core of the onion and is surrounded by many layers. You will find this diagram for your perusal in the reading section later. For your practice activity, I would like you to start thinking about these factors that affected your own childhood. While doing your practice activity, think about biological influences, which refers to what you look like, your body shape, nutrition, health and illness, physical strength and energy. Think about psychological factors, which are your thought and memory processes, emotions, motivations, self-esteem, and reaction to things. Also think about social factors, which are one's interactions with people, culture, and socio-economic conditions. Bronfenbrenner's ecological model is divided into systems: microsystem, mesosystem, exosystem, and macrosystem. Changes in any system can have an influence on the child's development. Now let's take a closer look at these different systems to see how factors from each system can influence a child's development. In the microsystem, the parents have a huge influence on the child. Parents' ideas and beliefs are carried over to their children. For example, if a parent emphasizes an importance on results, the child learns the importance of doing well at school, and the child works harder at school. The school is one of the influences from the mesosystem, which plays a role in the child's development. If the school promotes critical thinking and participation, the learners will develop those skills. For example, a learner thinks critically and dares to speak up, challenging her teacher's lessons. What do you think is going to happen? The child learns that it is fine to question the authority. She builds on the initial belief of respecting teachers. She politely raises her doubts regarding a point made by her teacher. Now, the third system, the exosystem, includes the extended family, mass media, neighbors, the school board, etc. If, for example, the school board decides that awards are based on merit, this will influence the child to work hard to achieve high marks in order to receive an award. The child learns he will only be rewarded if he does well. He knows that his teacher will not show favoritism. This child works extra hard to earn his points for an award. It is clear then that parents and teachers should realize that the relationship with the child is very important. Make an effort to increase your positive influence on the young child to prevent any problems in the future. If you already experience problems, you can act to intervene. It is never too late to make a difference. Introduce programs. Think about prevention of poor parent-child communication. Think about social skills training. Think about intervention with regards to coping with a divorce. Think about child abuse detection. Again, remember that it is never too late to intervene. The ecological model emphasizes that child development is social, cultural, and political. It is not possible to judge that one way of raising children is inherently better than another. In contrast, some policy documents about early childhood development, notably in the USA and written by the World Bank, assume that all children develop in the same way, irrespective of their gender or the culture and context in which they grow up. These policies list developmentally appropriate practices, which are lists of things that young children at different ages should experience. These lists are based on how white, middle-class American children typically grow up, and they make assumptions such as what the ideal family structure is, how easily available books, puzzles, toys, and electronic equipment is, and how much the child's independence is valued. However, things are different for children who grow up in more communal cultures, or children who live in cultures where education is valued more for how it prepares children for work, or children growing up in the context of poverty, malnutrition, conflict, HIV, child-headed households, or even corruption. This means that it is important for us to acknowledge the diversity of children and their contexts. Therefore, it is better to talk about developmentally and culturally appropriate practices. Now, read the interesting story about Victor, the wild boy from Aveyron, to see how important relationships with other people are in the development of a child.